Right. Well, my microphone is turned on, so that's a that's a good start, I think. Uh, and apparently there are 10 people here, so that is also pretty good. And some comments are showing up. Like everything is coming up, Jill, basically. Hi. How's everybody doing this fine early evening, afternoon, morning, middle of the night, whatever time it is for you? I'm on my phone with my microphone. Hang on, I should turn off the external hard drive because it's quite noisy. There we go. Which will hopefully mean that you're not hearing a weird buzzing noise as well as, you know, me. It's good that you if you're not hearing weird buzzing noise basically. I was gonna try and find my own self so I could look at all of the comments, not just the ones like as they appear. But if you're here, say something, even if it's just like wibble, because I got one comment, but I'm not sure if anybody else's are showing up. So, uh, topics. Hello, 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 wibble. Thank you. Wonderful. I'm glad you're all here. Uh, it's good to see you. Amazing. Okay, so it's Saturday evening here. I think. I think it's Saturday. You know, it's like time has lost all meaning, and so have days. Like I know when Sunday is because like church is live streaming, but aside from that, all of the other days are just it's a day, and I'm gonna get work done hopefully. Uh, Also, apparently schools are going back at. Hi Naj. Yes, exactly. Uh, I Yeah, so schools are going back, which means possibly also that Eartha Minor is going back to nursery because you know the whole starting school in September thing. They're good with that. Starting with a controversial topic early, yes, indeed. But uh, well, we'll see how that goes. Really, what I've mostly been doing this morning, this afternoon, I did a bunch of things not related to work. But what I did this morning was watch at 4 times the speed Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, and At World's End. Not all of them, but like large chunks of them, mostly at 4 times speed to try and figure out what was happening. I feel like At World's End, particularly, benefits from being played at least a little bit faster than like real life speed, just because there is, yes, I know. Is it? I've coordinated my teacup and my jumper. Uh, well, to be honest, I didn't understand Johnny Depp's accent at 4 times speed. Phoebe, basically, I was just looking for a particular scene, and so I was like, yeah, some people are double crossing each other or something right now. I don't know. No, no. Has anybody? Yeah. So, hello. At World's End is surprisingly like not a lot of things happen. Um, so like the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you kind of you know what's going on with everybody, and especially you know what's going on with you know Keira Knightley's character, like with Elizabeth and with Will, you know what's going on because they're fairly straightforward, and then Johnny Depp, you don't really know what's going on with Jack Sparrow, but you kind of get that he's supposed to be twisty, and so you expect him to do unexpected things, if that makes sense. But then everybody gets, you know, more complicated as we go through, which you kind of expect. But by the third one, uh, it's um, like you don't. But by the time you get to the end, everybody's double crossing and triple crossing and quadruple crossing each other, and you just don't. It's like I don't care if nobody's got. I know they're pirates, but nobody's nobody's got any integrity or at all or anything. I don't know. Um, but there we go. So I Jack Sparrow, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, or Hufflepuff. Slytherin, I think. Um, Not like because he's bad, but because he has a very clear set of kind of directives, and right at the top of them is look out for number one. Trig, hi. Yes, I Jack is chaotic neutral for sure. Yes, exactly. Like he's not intrinsically a terrible person, but he's just I think his characterization is best in the first movie when he's kind of like the Han Solo of the high seas. Like he tries to be bad and a smuggler and whatever, but I'm talking Han tries to be a badass smuggler or whatever, but he's not really very good at being bad. But he's not very good at being good. He's good at some things, but yeah. Anyway, Johnny Depp is kind of like that. Did I see the Birds of Prey movie? No. I meant to search on Netflix to see if it's on Netflix. At World's End is the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie, by the way. Um, I meant to search on Netflix to see if it was like on there. The third one is where Elizabeth becomes king of the pirates. I got an angry comment, and it wasn't my first angry comment of this specific nature on my video about Susan Pevensey to say, how dare you spoil the end of the books for me? Sorry, I haven't frozen. I was just like, the book series is like 70 years old? 60? I mean, the last battle was the last one, but my gosh. Do I have any stage combat bruises worth bragging about? I mean, not at the moment, because chicks take this card. Um, yes, basically, I wasn't even born when the last battle was published, and I remember a friend of mine. You do not hear a cat properly. You hear a small child. Um, it's like complaining about spoiling the Wizard of Oz ending. Exactly, exactly. It's like I read like half The Hobbit, and then my friend said to me, "Oh, have you got to the bit where what's his face dies?" And I went, "No," and I didn't know that. He was like, "Well, and I said, "I'm not mad at you for spoiling it because it's a very very old book. It's like I'm not gonna get mad." 1956. There we go. Okay, so it is 64, more or less, years old. Yeah, 60, 64. There we go. I got this. everyone, everyone dies in Hamlet. Exactly. I'm so mad that you told me that everyone dies in Hamlet or King Lear. Everyone dies in King Lear. It was his sled. See, I haven't even seen that movie, but I know it was his sled and something something Rosebud. I don't know. It's less of a spoiler than Harry Potter is a wizard. Maybe. Okay, before I forget, I have to go at in I don't know how many minutes that is now. 45 minus 8 is 37. So about quarter to whatever the hour is, about a quarter to whatever the next hour is, wherever you are, you need to like tell me to go away because I do tend to get distracted and just keep talking basically. So, what are you guys all doing this weekend? Uh, is it I was going to say, are you planning anything fun? It's my cousin's birthday today, and so I texted and went, "Happy birthday! Hope you're having a nice time doing stuff." Uh, Watching you. Well, I always like that, Emily. I'm very keen on that when people like watch me in whatever capacity. Well, presumably in a video or live streaming capacity, not in the like watching you while you sleep capacity. That would just be weird. But you're not doing that. You're watching the Emma commentary. Working. Fair. Uh, Working on your characters. Ah, excellent. See, somebody's being productive. It's not me, but somebody. Uh, Which Emma? Nobuko. Which Emma? Like the old one or the new one? I haven't seen the latest Emma. I saw that it was coming out, but it's yeah, I never quite got around to seeing it, and then nobody was allowed to go outside. Ah, gaming. Ever watched the John Wick films? No, but John Wick 3 is on Netflix. So I tried looking for John Wick, and it was like, no. Would you like to watch John Wick 3? And I said, no. Well, I mean, or rather, yes, but I, yeah, you can hear now. I would rather watch 1 and 2 first, but no. Take care, Nedge. Um, if you only have time for one Discworld novel, that's that's a great question, actually. Okay, I will get to the Narnia one. Um, it's a very nice adaptation. I like the inclusion of servant and the absurd entitlement of gentry. Ah, I like it. There is a book called, oh, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like Pride and Prejudice from the point of view of the servants, and they didn't like Lizzie because she did insist on going on walks in the countryside and coming back with her petticoat 6 inches deep in mud. I'm absolutely certain. Hello from Finland. Hello, Finland. Um, and so she kept coming back with these really dirty petticoats, which the servants then either had to wash or send out. Longbourn. That's the book. Thank you. I got um, you know, I got like a chapter into it and then I forgot that I was reading it. Uh, which I think says a lot about me, honestly. Okay, sorry, I was going to. Oh, right, Discworld. Okay. Basically, if you. I always recommend Night Watch. Night Watch was the first one I ever read. My housemate bought it for me for a birthday present, and he was like, "You'll like this one." And it's really good. It's a kind of hard-boiled detective story. He goes back in time to his own past hard-boiled detective story, which is kind of weird, but I had none of the context and it was still really good. Night Watch was the second one you read. See? Um I think Night Watch might have been the first one I owned, and I might have read one of the Witches ones before. So Weird Sisters is good if you like Macbeth, because it's basically Terry Pratchett does Macbeth in the way that you would expect, and it's very funny. And the witches are he hasn't quite their characters aren't quite as developed as they would become in later books, but it's fun. So basically, it's like, do you want a detective story kind of, or do you want Shakespeare? Um, anyway, so those would be my two uh, recommendations. There we go. I know words. Did you know that classic lit fans are divided into those who like Jane Austen and those who like the Bronte sisters? No, I did not know that. I just want to be amused. Okay, well, eh, like flip a coin. Do you want a male protagonist or a female protagonist? If male, Night Watch. If female, Weird Sisters. Do you think you could ever play a convincing pirate? I don't think that modern pirate movies really portray convincing pirates because pirates aren't very nice people. Uh, and actually, that's kind of one of the things about At World's End. Elizabeth does this big rousing speech to these pirates saying, "Well, see, they're not going to see cards; they're going to see free men and freedom." And yes, piracy, just wonderful. What about Elizabeth Gaskell fans? I don't even know who Elizabeth Gaskell is. Anyway, da, da, da. Why was Christian theme fiction so much better back in the day? Monica suggested it's because it was more about the story, but which I mean may have some truth to it. I mean, I think Christian fiction has become enough of a niche now that even if there was a particularly good Christian themed story, you wouldn't necessarily see it in mainstream shops anyway because it's a Christian book for Christians. So it's sold to that niche rather than sold for general release. June. June. Uh, Okay, I have no idea what the comment about intellectual dark web people is about. God's Not Dead is on Netflix. There you go. I'm really hoping at some point that I've seen Brad Jones review a couple of Christian movies, uh, and I'm really hoping that at some point, like, Christian Mingle turns up on it, because he talked about that one, or he reviewed that one, and he was like, actually, it's not that bad. It's, it's fairly formulaic, but it's not that bad. And I was like, you know, it's probably less bad than 10 Things I Hate About You. No, 10 Things I Hate About You is the one that's really good, and I like. Oh, what is it? It's got 10 in it. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. There we go. I don't have, like, the magical girl genre is one that I never really got into, Marianne, which is weird. You would think it would be, but I just, like, I just never got into it. Exactly. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Probably one of my least favorite films that I have seen all the way through. I can see you. How to lose 10 pounds in one day. Because, okay, so the reason I hate it is because, like, a lot of modern rom-coms are about, like, people who lie to each other, and they have a misunderstanding. The reason they have a misunderstanding is because they lie to each other. One sec. Hold on, I thought. Too much Christian fiction is written by and for certain denominations, while things like Narnia and Tolkien are very much about universal Christian themes. I think there's some truth to that. I mean, there's a very specific. I'm pretty sure when I was a teenager, I read a lot of aimed at the American evangelical Christian market fiction. Um, but again, there is that, because there are so many more books published. Everybody's getting more and more niche. I mean, you can even see it in my videos, which are now about something very like, they're about something very specific, because I did for a long time sort of very general media analysis stuff from my own point of view, but it was very difficult to explain that it's just from my own point of view. And, like, I lost my train of thought again. Right, so now I do videos about stage combat in movies, and many more people watch and subscribe because it's about a specific thing. Um, and YouTube is less hesitant to recommend it because of that specific thing. I would say the Harry Potter books teach good Christian values. Well, they are like a massive, Christian allegory, like the whole Deathly Hallows thing at the end, when, spoilers, I guess, there we go, spoilers, when Harry dies, and then it kills off the thing that's inside Harry, and then he comes back to life again, and then none of the things that the Death Eaters do can hurt his friends anymore, and so on and so forth. Happy Go Lucky, the Sally Hawkins movie from 2 years ago. I've never even heard of it. Wow. Voldemort is evil Jesus died and came back. Yeah, he didn't really, like, the whole thing about Voldemort is that he's afraid of death, and because he's afraid of death, he becomes a monster. Although Harry died to save everyone, exactly. I've never read any of the Left Behind books, and I feel like that's probably, not a detriment to my life. I'm gonna go for that. There was a point that I was gonna. Oh right, okay, sorry, right. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I dislike, because a lot of rom coms are like about, there has to be a misunderstanding or some kind of barrier that means that these two people can't be together. You want them to be together, and so you want to be able to root for them to get together, but there has to be some kind of barrier, otherwise you don't, like, no movie, basically. And a lot of them don't have, there's no longer so much a class thing. You don't see a lot of rom-coms which are about, we can't be together because we're of different races. you see some, but the main thing that modern rom-coms do is we can't be together because of something stupid and arbitrary, which we would be able to sort out if we sat down for like 15 minutes and talked to each other like grown-ups. And How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is like, Save the Last Dance had that whole interracial conflict. That is true. Actually, I just got that on DVD. I don't remember why I bought it, but I remember that we didn't have it and we used to have it and I wanted it, so I bought it for like £3. It was great. But the main female character in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days acts like a lunatic. Like half the time, because she's writing this article about how to drive men away, and the dude is also acting like a really terrible person because he's basically trying to convince her to fall in love with him, even though he thinks she's a nutter because she keeps on doing all of these insane things because she's trying to get good, copy for her article. And so it's sort of like, I don't like you, and I don't like you, and I don't like you, and I don't care if you get together because you both seem like terrible people who are willing to, like, commit at least moderate amounts of deception on each other. And that's just kind of, you know? Anyway. The internet dark web, edgy atheists saying they're just being rational when they're actually being bigoted. Okay. I feel like I've heard of the name internet dark web, but I don't really know anything about it. Terry Pratchett's Nation. I don't think I've read Nation. Man from Earth. No, I haven't seen the movie Man from Earth. There we go. But yes, many 2022 right now. Good. That's fine. Still got plenty of time to ramble on vaguely at you all. And hopefully, now that we've got this, I just got a notification that you started a live stream. Amazing. Good. Hopefully some other people will have got a notification that I've just started a live stream. So that's good. Yeah, YouTube's notifications thing is weird, and I have a friend who told me, he said, the thing is, I like watching your videos, but YouTube never shows them to me on like my homepage or my subscriptions page, so I've had to turn on the notifications, just because otherwise I would have no idea when you put up a video, because it would never be shown to me. I'm like, huh. Well, I mean, that would explain many things. So, if you would like my advice, if you want to see the videos that I make, you can just like turn up every couple of weeks, because I usually like put one up every couple of weeks. But if you want to know when they actually go up, then you should probably hit the notifications whatchamajigger, because it seems to be better for videos than it is for live streams, at least for me. 17 minutes after I started. Well, that's better than 22 minutes after I started. Does having a messianic figure in your story make it Christian fiction? No. I mean, you can, definitely not. Just because something contains something sort of Christian-y that doesn't make it Christian fiction. I mean, I would say either for something to be Christian fiction, for me, it either has to be explicitly trying to be Christian, written by a Christian who wants it to be Christian fiction, or contain some kind of, explicit, or not even explicit Christian allegory, but some kind of, Christian allegory. I mean, The Matrix. I've been thinking about The Matrix recently because I was gonna. I'm writing a video. It's a secret video. It's coming out in June, but I can't tell you what it's about. But it references The Matrix. It's not about The Matrix. And like, I remember coming out of I remember watching the first one on VHS and being like, wow, that was really fun. And I remember watching the second one in the cinema and being like, oh, that was pretty fun. And I remember coming out of the third one and going, what did I just watch? What just happened? And I don't know, I get less, uh, I get less, like, patient with things which think they're extremely clever. Like, the older I get, the more I appreciate things which are free to understate their cleverness and let you pick it up kind of as subtext rather than things which need to, like, beat you over the head with how intelligent they are. And I feel like the third Matrix movie was very much, wow, look how edgy and, like, exciting and cool and smart we are. Somebody had a. Jon Snow and Daenerys are seen as messianic archetypes. Really? Huh. And Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Allegorical. What is your favourite book of the Bible? Oh, I have, well, Luke is, as in the Gospel of Luke, is one of my favourites. I also like the Gospel of John. The Synoptic Gospels, as in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, are all kind of similar, but Luke is my favourite because he likes to pair up his stories, and so Jesus tells a story there's a story about a man, there's a story about a woman, there's a story about an old person, there's a story about a young person, there's a story about a Jewish person, there's a story about a Samaritan, etc., etc. Luke and Matthew plagiarized Mark. Yes and may sort of possibly, like, John, whoever wrote the gospel, is so extra in the resurrection. Yes, the disciple Jesus loved. I always loved that. It was like, dude, seriously. Strictly speaking, all of the gospels are anonymous. But we call them Matthew, Mark, and Luke and John. Anyway, I like Luke. I like John because John is really extra. Like, I feel like the old plagiarized Q is like an. Says she, not a biblical scholar. I feel like Q is a very convenient way of saying like the canon that was already going around, because people, it's not like people didn't write, but stories which were told and retold relatively faithfully does not a written document make, if you see what I mean. So I'm perfectly happy with there being a Q, but I don't necessarily think it's I'm perfectly happy with there being a Q, but I don't necessarily think it's a thing that was written down. But yes, there are a lot of sections of Matthew and Luke which are exactly the same as Mark, like in the Greek, which is it's interesting they're written in Greek. Anyway, there was another question which I was going to. What is your take on fanfic inspired by adventure video games? Why not? Basically, I like fanfic. Oh no. Also, you can't really plagiarize in the first century because, like, there isn't the same originality. Isn't regarded as the be all and end all. In fact, originality isn't really what you want if what you're searching for is accuracy. Surely, like, if you want to know that a story has been retold faithfully, then everybody saying the same thing is, like, good, or rather, like, consistency or some reasonable level of consistency would be what you want, surely. Anyway, fourth dimension. Why not? Oh, thank you. You have approximately 15 minutes now. You're amazing. Biblical authorship debates are wild. Yes, they are. Oh no, now I've lost my place again. Not So I've never watched Dragon Ball Z, uh, whichever, but I think I wonder, and I have no reference point for this at all, but I wonder if the um, Christian messianic overtones are basically the equivalent of how the West does Eastern mysticism stuff. Like we don't have the cultural background to understand it, but these things look cool, and so we'll just borrow them because why not? And kind of stick them on there. Um, like I said, I have no idea if that's in any way accurate or not, but hey. Of course, it all depends whether you believe they all had one sovereign author. Indeed. And what form that authorship takes, for that matter. Fanfic is culture. Yeah, like, I think it's a weird culture sometimes, but yes. Paradise Lost. Satan is the sexy bad boy. Yeah, Satan as Draco in leather pants is just like, it's wild. Um, and that also counts as biblical fanfic. There we go. The author of Dragon Ball is a big fan of Western movies, and that's probably why it's in there. There we go. Where is Nemo? I don't know. Well, I mean, he's in the house, but he does have this tendency to do bad things to this room and all of the stuff therein. So he's kept out of here as much as possible. When I did my live stream for, I do a live stream every month for my like $10 patrons, and when I did it on Thursday, there was a picture sitting up there behind me. No, yeah. The kitten got in at some point, and he climbed up the stacks of shelves, and he knocked it off, and now it's broken, and I have to fix it. Whoops. Uh, Elon Musk's baby name. Does anyone know like how to pronounce that even? I mean, I used to, I remember when Gwyneth Paltrow named her baby Apple, and I was like, really? Did you like really? Um, and nowadays I'm like, you know what? At least Apple is a recognizable word, and you can pronounce it and spell it. So you know what? Why not? uh, it's pronounced pretentious. Well, no comment. None whatsoever. I think everyone might be going a little crazy in the various stages of lockdown that we're in. So we'll find out. No, it really is pronounced Kyle. Okay. I don't even try and keep up now. What have I been reading? What have I been reading? I reread all of the Dresden Files. Like, every single one from Stormfront to Skin Game, because there is a new one. Actually, there are two new ones coming out this year, and one of them is coming out in July. And also, I promised to do a patron review on the Dresden Files, among many other things. So, I read every single one of them again. And I was like, man, I really enjoy these. And as I said on Thursday when I was saying I'm writing a review of the Dresden Files, I was like, I don't remember a dang thing that happened. Stormfront, it's two words, as in there is the front of a storm. I thought it was a bit unfortunate as well, but it is like relevant to the plot. I have been told that I need to listen to the audiobooks because James Marsters. Unpronounceable names have been all the rage for years. Oh, Mary Patricia. I can imagine. Taking attendance for the first time is an adventure. Yeah. Yeah. No comment. In Germany, I am told, and it didn't apply to us because we were foreign, but in Germany there is a list of, kind of like prescribed names. 10-minute warning. I love you guys. You're great. There is a list of prescribed names, and you can't just name your child any random thing like Apple or Nike. Although I suppose you could name your kid Nike because Goddess of Victory and all that. But have I read the Dragonlance books? Nope. The thing about the Dresden Files is that because I've now read them all in rapid succession, I have no idea what happens in any particular book at all. I mean, that was true before. Like, I remembered one thing out of Stormfront. I was like, okay, I have a vague idea of where the plot is going. I remember there's a book with a dinosaur in it. And I remember there's a book where they go to a ziggurat. And I remember there's a book where he shouts, "Game over, man, game over!" And I kept, every time I read a book, I was expecting it to be that one, and then it wasn't. Blood rights. Vampires. Yeah. Also, he gets a dog. Oh, I love Mouse. I love Mouse. He's wonderful. Okay, yes. I remember liking that one. The first time I read Harry Dresden, I read Stormfront, and I went, "Eh, I don't know if I like Harry very much," I said. And my friend who had recommended them to me said, just just read the second one, and possibly also the third one. Like, don't judge it on the first one, because the first one's okay, but you just kind of need to get through the first couple. And I was like, oh, okay, because, I had free time back then, so I did. And then I read the second one. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then I read the third one, and then I was like, yeah, they're kind of addictive. They're very, they're very Moorish. They're kind of like Pringles. And got through the first three and then stopped, just didn't grab me. I mean, I feel like that's fair. Like, I read the first one and nearly gave up. I was like, yeah, it was fine, but nothing really, meh. But yes, I think there is a point where he kind of really hits his stride and goes, all right, I know what I'm doing, and everything is going wonderful. I haven't read Codex Alera, actually. I think we have them, or at least one of them, but I have I have many books which I should read and kind of haven't been. But there we go. But every time I finished a Dresden Files book, usually in the back of like the second half of them was a little couple of paragraphs on the Codex Alera series, and I said, "Oh, maybe I should read that after I finish these." The Vampire House Brothers, kind of hilarious. Oh, I love Thomas. Thomas is just so extra. I guess that is not a word I use in real life very often, but I feel like for Thomas it's kind of the only word that fits. Mind you, vampires in general are just uh extra. Do you really have to go in 10 minutes? I have to go in 8 minutes, more or less. Um, Mind you, we have already done the teeth brushing thing, so like we might be able to stretch it out to 10 minutes. However, I would like another series. You don't want to judge by the first book. Um, yeah, I would like to not have a very grumpy child in the morning and lots of whining and wanting to play the Nintendo Switch, because frankly I want to play the Nintendo Switch, so there we are. Uh, okay, if I read the Codex Alera series, then I will not give up after the first book. Perhaps for your birthday you should get time to read your books. That sounds pretty nice. I mean, Sundays is generally my time where I try and like turn the phone off and I don't do any work and stuff. Well, I don't turn the phone off because then no one, like I would not be able to call my family. Did I ever read anything from Anne Rice? No, I have not. And I got a really snotty comment about how bad that was, and I was like, yeah, well, 8 years ago. Hi, Mackenzie. Oh, it's nice to see you whatever time you get here. Uh, Animal Crossing or Pokemon Sword or Shield? Pokemon Sword. Not Animal Crossing. We don't have Animal Crossing. I don't really understand Animal Crossing, but everyone seems to like it a lot. Forgotten what I was talking about again. Never mind. I'm sure it wasn't that important. Anne Rice. Oh yeah, I got a snotty comment going, yeah, you're so funny. You're so stupid. You're not reading any Anne Rice books. And I was like, well, I mean, 8 years ago, I didn't read them on like the principle that there are many other books in the world, and she doesn't like fanfic. So, meh. And now I don't read them because who has time really? Uh, that's not to say I don't have time to read, because in the last like 3 weeks I have reread the entire Dresden Files series. But 5-minute warning. Thank you. You read the first two books. How were the first two books? Because yeah, I'm not ever gonna read them, but You either get Animal Crossing or you don't. Well, I haven't buyed it. Oh man, my grammar's going. It really must be time to go soon. I haven't bought it, so apparently Animal Crossing requires you to be nice and help other people. Fair enough. Mine is an unpopular opinion. Bye, Monique. I feel like there are a lot of characters. You popped up in my feed. Who are you? Hello. Uh, that is always an excellent question. I'm Jill. Mostly, I make videos about like fake fighting in movies and how you put it together and how it tells you things about character and story and plot and stuff. However, if you don't know who I am, it's probably because you watched my video about logical fallacies. She hits people over the head with swords. That is also true. Like, generally, I have their permission to do that, though, so that's important. But I still have no idea when they're sending me my birthday sword, though. I haven't like got a dispatch notification or anything. This is sad. Yes, well, generally. Um, I have not recently hit anyone over the head with a sword. Best video ever in defense of Susan Pevensey. Okay, yes, that's the other one. Like, either it's you got here from my logical fallacies video, or, you know, the one about Susan Pevensey. Which may have made you very mad because I spoiled the ending of it, of the book series that finished in 1956. And now I've got myself right back around to the first topic, or at least one of the very early topics in this live stream. So I feel like that was nicely circular. Do you think you shouldn't do fanfic about a writer's work if they don't want you to? I feel like if you're going to and you feel so very strongly that you shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't make it obvious to them, at least. Separating the art from the artist is weird. I mean, I kind of, well, I don't know. I have like it helps not to sort of follow things, but for example, I've never watched a Woody Allen film, not because Woody Allen is a terrible person, though I'm told that he is, but just because I never have, and apparently they're all kind of self-indulgent middle-aged dude makes self-indulgent middle-aged characters do stuff. So me really finally someone who likes Susan. I'm told that if you like Susan, then you should read Till We Have Faces, because that's basically the grown-up version of Susan's story, albeit with different characters. Pacific Rim, man, you are gonna be so happy in like probably a fortnight, because I think the next video that's going up at the start of June was Till We Have Faces, Reese, is C.S. Lewis's kind of retelling of the myth of Persephone, I think, from the perspective of her sister. Yes. Hang on. Next video probably is going to be Pacific Rim, I think, depending on whether something else comes up in the meantime. But it is 1843, and I should probably go quite soon. So I'm going to say my goodbye now. And Cupid and Psyche, not Persephone. Thank you. There we go. And yeah, so I'm going to say goodbye now and leave you with that book recommendation. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all soon. 1 minute. Thank you. I'm doing well. We're doing well. I like that you're all really good at keeping me on track here. Nice chill stream. I've already brushed our teeth. You know, it's all good. That means we have time to read 3 stories before we go to bed instead of 2 stories. So that's pretty much perfect. It's like the best day. I enjoy dictating time to you. Well, most of the time I dictate your next 7 minutes to you. So there we go. We'll start loads of them. One's about socks and whether or not there's room on the broom or the Gruffalo or whatever. And yes, good evening, everyone. I will see you again very soon. Wait, where's the button? And every single time I'm like, wait, where's the button? Here's the button. Bye.